have you ever danced with your dad while wearing a big puffy dress that you keep tripping over while tears are running down your face and a room full of hundreds of people are watching you? Well, that's just one of the things that happens during the quinceañera. And chances are that in your lifetime, you're probably going to either hear about one or even get to attend one. And I think it's important that people know the importance of this day in the Hispanic culture. And that is why today I'm going to be talking about the history, the traditions, and the planning that go into having a quinceañera. So for the history, it's a mix of Spanish Catholic and Aztec and indigenous traditions. The Spaniards liked that the Aztecs had traditions where they presented the people into the new milestones in life, and they incorporated that into their traditions of presenting women into society. In colonial times, according to Quinceañera History article, it was used as a time to present their daughters that they were ready for marriage, so to available suitors. And now it's mostly a celebration of the young woman and their family. And in modern times, and in colonial times, they also had to wear white dresses, and it was a sign of like their purity, which is kind of how brides wear white. Now in modern times, they don't have to. They can wear any color dress they want. Some girls still wear white, and some even go as far as having two dresses, one that they wear white to the church and then one for their reception, which is whatever color they want. And traditionally, you're supposed to have a church and a reception. Some people can consider the church as being the most important part, and if you just have a reception but not the church, some older generations consider it as like an invalid celebration because you didn't go to the church. And this is just some examples of like different dresses. And yeah, I know all of them. I didn't just take pictures off the internet. That'd be weird. Some traditions in the church include, besides the actual like ceremony and the mass, include giving a bouquet of roses to the Virgin Mary, which is really important because the young woman is honoring her. And usually you get pieces of gold jewelry, so you either get a necklace, a ring, earrings, bracelets, and they're all blessed. And they usually have some form of like writing on them that say that it's for the 15. So they have like the number 15, your name, and mis 15 años, which is my 15. And those are two of the traditions that happen in the church. And there's also traditions that happen in the reception, and according to Trevino's, the tradition of the quinceañera, these are the events that officially mark from going from girl to woman. And some of those include la muñeca, which is the last doll you receive as a girl, so it's officially your last doll, and then you become a woman and you're not supposed to play with dolls anymore. La corona, which is the crown, and you get pretty much crowned into womanhood. Las zapatillas, which are, you get your dad, or whichever man in your life, takes off your shoes of as a girl and puts on your heels, which marks you being a woman as well. And then there's las rosas, which are the roses, and the brindis, which is a toast. And that's just you passing either roses or toasting to the people that are important to your life and that have made the day possible for you to be where you are as a woman now. And there are the traditional dances, which is the waltz or vals with your court. And traditionally, the girls have 7 boys, 7 girls, and then the quinceañera is the 15th person. Now, girls can either not have a court, have a smaller court, only have men in their court, only have women in their court. But traditionally, you're supposed to have 7 and 7, and then so it goes to 15. They also have surprise dances, which is you can choose any type of music that you want and like have a surprise dance. Everybody is expecting you to have a waltz. So the surprise dance is kind of like a bonus. And then the father-daughter dance. As a woman, that is your first dance is supposed to be with your father or with any other man that is an important role in your life. So that is a very emotional dance. I would know. And then the planning. The expenses can range. The more extravagant you want to party, obviously the more it's going to cost. Some people can spend thousands on their quinceañeras, and some people will keep it really simple and spend not as much. And the season and timing is really important. A lot of people want to have it during the time where people from around the country and out of the country can come to their parties. So usually the summer is bombarded with parties every weekend for quinceañeras. Church requirements you have to keep in consideration because some churches expect the court or the quinceañera or even the whole family to attend classes before they're able to have the ceremony, and some churches don't. So it really depends on the church, but you have to keep that in consideration when planning. Time management, you have to know when it's time to start sending your invitations, when to start reserving places, when to start your practices for your dances. And padrinos, which are like sponsors, so there are certain people like La Muñeca and The Crown and all that, they're sponsored by different people, so different people give that to you, so you have to let them know ahead of time and ask ahead of time. So there's a lot of planning ahead, and some people can start planning up to a year or more in advance before their party, which is a lot of time. So I've gone over the history, the traditions, and the reception, and even though it sounds like a really stressful process, at the end of the day, the memories that you make that day are like unforgettable. You still remember them years later, and sometimes you even remember the steps to your waltz. So that's all. Thanks for listening.